When you become a TYT member, not only do you get exclusive content, you become a part of our family. Click the link in the description box below to join the home of progressives.
An explosive device was found in the mailbox of George Soros. This was luckily detonated by police, and this was all thanks to an employee who had discovered the device. Luckily, when the employee had opened the package and discovered the device, it didn't detonate. But according to reports, according to the New York Times, an employee of the residence opened the package, revealing what appeared to be an explosive device. The employee placed the package in a wooded area and then called Bedford police. This is in a New York suburb, to be specific. Also, the device was proactively detonated by bomb squad technicians from Westchester County Police Department. I just wanted to share this one piece from the New York Times story because I thought it was a little ridiculous. The bomber's motive remained unclear. I think we know what the bomber's motive was. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm making too many assumptions, but look, I get it. They're trying to be as responsible as possible. Also, I just want to be clear about why something like this would happen. There has been a concerted effort by right-wingers and right-wing media to go after Soros and spread all sorts of insane conspiracy theories. And by the way, US politicians do the same. So this month, Representative Matt Gaetz, he's a Republican of Florida, falsely speculated that Soros had funded a caravan of migrants moving north toward Mexico.
Matt Gaetz is a total liar. He lies all the time with impunity and no conscience. He goes on television and will say almost anything to support Donald Trump, be a hideous right-winger, etc. He's one of the worst guys in Congress. If fascists took over the country, Matt Gaetz would be at the head of the line, leading that parade enthusiastically. And what a preposterous lie that George Soros funded the caravan. Those are people who are incredibly poor, who are running away from violence in their own countries, who are looking for peace and economic opportunity. Soros went to their villages and what? Was like, hey, you poor people, come here, I got a great idea, we'll do a caravan. And if he funded them, boy, he did a terrible job of funding them because look at them, okay? If you've seen the caravan on TV, they look like they're living a posh lifestyle. I don't think there's any real housewives of Guatemala in there, okay?
Yeah, but what the crazy thing about this is, what Matt Gaetz said was just false, full of lies, just constantly spreading this propaganda, negative propaganda towards Soros. But among the things that we've heard about Soros and the conspiracy theories that are floating around out there, that's actually a tame one. It's a mild one.
Yeah, and so I do want to commend the New York Times for one thing where they finally had gathered up the courage to say that Soros has been the target of anti-Semitic smears. Because they are anti-Semitic. Can you just call it what it is? And thank God, finally, now when they put a bomb in his house, finally the New York Times acknowledges the reality of it. So they have caricatures of George Soros being the puppet master. That's the oldest, well, the second oldest other than blood libel, anti-Semitic smear there is, that the Jews secretly control things behind the scenes. And okay, the cartoons are harkened back to Nazi Germany. They had the same exact cartoons, right? And the big nose and the whole thing, the caricature of all that, right? But all of the verbiage, the language that they use is the same exact thing. Soros controls everything, Soros funds everything, Soros the evil guy that's behind all this. And Glenn Beck with his chalkboard back in the day on Fox News, it all leads to Soros and the Tides Foundation. And remember, somebody went to go shoot up the Tides Foundation and then got in a shootout with cops. And so, and they've been agitating to try to get, basically asking someone, well, is anybody ever going to do anything about this guy? And finally, somebody put a bomb in his house. And by the way, as always with terrorists, and whoever tried to bomb George Soros is clearly a terrorist.
Exactly. Yes.
I mean, like, can we call that what it is?
It is.
I mean, imagine if a Muslim guy put a bomb in any politician's house, right? Let alone a Republican one. We'd all say he's a terrorist, right? So just call right-wing extremism what it is, terrorism. Meant to obviously terrorize and maybe murder, not maybe, definitely murder George Soros. It's a bomb, right? And so, and as with all stupid terrorists, of course somebody, he's rich, of course somebody else in the house was gonna open the mail.
Right.
and you're gonna blow up somebody who's, I don't know how much they're making, right? God damn, that's so stupid and immoral and terrible. And look, then they have the audacity to talk about a left-wing mob. Like,
yes, okay, there's so many things to touch on with this story, because I think that this one story is basically an accumulation of a bunch of different problems we've been having in society. An issue with rhetoric, problems when it comes to using politics to incite violence. So why does the right wing hate George Soros so much? What is it about George Soros that they hate? Okay, and I want to talk about this because it's a good way to juxtapose the way the left wing handles something that they dislike and the way the right wing handles something that they dislike. So on the right, you have mega donors like the Koch brothers, you have the Mercers, you have Foster Freeze, you have all sorts of right-wing mega donors who go out of their way to really influence politics, not just fund campaigns. I mean, you look at Turning Point USA and you look at who their mega donors are, not the grassroots of the country, okay? All of the major Republican donors are involved. And so on the left, we raise awareness about that without demonizing those mega donors, because it's important for people to know what's at play. It's important for people to be able to find, where the propaganda is, and to be a little more skeptical about the information that they're getting from clowns like Charlie Kirk. But on the right, you have George Soros, who does give money to Democrats, right? So just to give you an example, Soros contributed more than $25 million to Hillary Clinton and other Democratic candidates and causes during the 2016 election cycle. That's why the right wing hates him, right? But just be honest about why you hate him. Don't use anti-Semitic smears, don't use conspiracy theories, don't lie about him, just tell the truth. You don't like the fact that there's money in politics that actually benefits people on the left. And guess what? I agree with you. We all agree here. We want the money out of politics. There's no question about that. No more mega donors, no more super PACs. But instead of actually getting to the root of the problem, the right wing will fearmonger, they'll spread the conspiracy theories, they'll spread the propaganda, and they'll incite violence. And that's exactly what happened today with this story. That's the reason why someone decided it was a good idea to send a bomb to George Soros's home.
What strikes me about this is at the exact same time that the right wing is shaking in their boots over so-called caravans of migrants that probably want to come here to pick lettuce or something, and Syrian refugees and so on and so forth. Who's committing the terror? And there's good studies on this by organizations that look at extremism. I believe last year there was a report issued, I know it got picked up in the New York Times, that found the vast majority of terror attacks in the US are actually far right-wing in nature.
Yes.
In fact, I have the exact numbers on this because I just studied it to get ready for the Tucker Carlson debate. So right-wing extremism went up by 59% last year. And in the last decade, 71% of people killed in terrorist attacks in America were killed by right-wing extremists. Now, 26% were killed by Muslim extremists, which is far too high and disproportionate to the size of in the population. By the way, left-wing and all other extremists combined were only 3%. 71% were right-wing extremists who committed terrorism. But again, as usual, the mainstream media treats it with kid gloves. Oh my God, we'll offend our right-wing audience, and our ratings will go down. So don't tell the truth. Cover it up. Say it's just the Muslims, but don't say it's the right wing, even though it clearly is the right wing. Foster Freeze is a really well-known Republican donor. He gives to Turning Point USA and many other Republican candidates, etc. I had him on the show when we were doing it on Current TV. He's a very likable guy. Okay, he's a lovely guy, and and he doesn't have like the some of the elitist trappings that some of the other donors have. But does that mean we should allow him to bribe our politicians? Of course not. That's preposterous. Now, he can give money to Charlie Kirk and whoever else he likes to do, spread his message, etc. But he should not be able to contribute to, and obviously legally bribe all those politicians. George Soros, what they say about him is 100% wrong. So, okay, to be fair, not 100% because he gives the Democratic Party, but in terms of how they characterize him. So, and then I'll tell you why I'm actually opposed to Soros politically. And I know that's going to throw the right wing for a total loop, okay? But he gave $18 billion to the Open Society Foundation. $18 billion. What does the Open Society Foundation do? It promotes democracy and human rights around the world. And a lot of that was in Soviet Union countries that are now the former Soviet Union. He helped to bring them out of communism. He's from Hungary, okay? And he didn't want them in communism. You know why? He's a giant capitalist. Yep. He's actually one of the best known capitalists in the history of the world.
He became fabulously wealthy by being a hedge fund manager.
He runs a hedge fund, one of the most successful hedge funds in history. I mean, to call that guy a socialist is insane.
He was even quoted as saying, "I don't particularly want to be a Democrat." So he's not even like this extreme leftist, you know?
No, he in fact speaks out against what he calls the extreme left, which by the way, in his mind might be us. So when he gave $25 million to Hillary Clinton and other Democrats, they used that money to not just against Trump, but against Bernie Sanders and against other progressive Democrats. So do I want George Soros' money out of politics? I've been consistent on this for as long as we've been doing the Young Turks. Well before he spent money against Bernie Sanders or anybody else, okay? Of course I want Soros' money out. I don't want, unlike the right wing, who doesn't care about fairness or principles at all. They'd be like, oh, Koch brothers money, Foster Freeze money, that's great. They should use it to bribe every politician there is. George Soros, evil. I can't believe he'd give money to politicians, right? No, whether they're evil or not, which I don't think they are, they're just either working in their self-interest on the right wing because for tax cuts, honestly, for Soros and some of the others, against their own self-interest because their taxes would go up if the politicians they want win. Either way, I don't want their money in politics. Wolf-pac.com. Get the money out. 28th Amendment. Get all of the money out. Corporate money out, union money out, Soros money out, etc. And how do you actually fight back against people who you think are damaging the country? It's okay to think that, hey, I think the Koch brothers are damaging the country with their politics. You think Soros is, okay? Well, for God's sake, we live in a democracy. For now, kind of, mainly, mostly.
It's a constitutional republic, Cenk.
I know, God, the new right-wing talking point against democracy, and they just, anyway. So James Thompson running right now in the Koch's hometown in Kansas' 4th district. He's a Justice Democrat, so he takes no corporate PAC money. So to defeat the Koch brothers in their home district with a guy who doesn't take any corrupt money, that's victory. That's America. That's how you do it, not by putting bombs in people's houses. Thanks for watching this free clip of the Young Turks. Don't forget to become a TYT member today. For more exclusive content, join now at tyt.com/join.